Everybody, welcome back. This is Lee once again at Guitar Wishes facility here in downtown Lincoln, North Carolina. Today we're coming to you with part two of my interview with Roger Stevenson from the band Blind Melon. And now he's going to talk about, he's going to go into the new singer, how Travis has affected the band, and the brand new stuff they've got going on, including the documentary, All I Can Say, and the two brand new tracks that are dropping on June 26th. And so I hope you enjoy this. This was a treat for me, and I hope you enjoyed it as well. Here we go.
I thought it was hilarious to watch it. And I wanted to point out another performance that it's strange. I've heard you talk in interviews before that you're not a fan of the Woodstock performance. Y'all were not happy with the performance that day. Now, from somebody who was watching it and somebody who has seen it over and over and over again, it's almost, for me, it's almost a magical performance.
Well, I listen, Shannon was indeed extraordinary at that show, I thought. Mm-hmm. His voice was barking here and there, but because we had a really hell of a experience, in the prior 4 days.
Yeah, you came from Hawaii, didn't you?
Yeah. Which, we had an amazing time there.
Yeah.
All of the hell of a part of that was self-inflicted, I assure you. So by the time we got to, oh
yeah,
it was, we were really sort of wiped out, and we had one of those kind of runs where I felt like we were playing shows like every 3 days rather than because we went, I think, from Japan or to Hawaii and then back up. So we just weren't on point.
Mm-hmm.
And that stage, it was big and washy and I don't know if you've ever been stood on one of those kinds of stages.
Right.
Which we did a lot, like with Guns N' Roses, or even if you stand in the wings and listen, behind the monitor engineer or whatever, it just, it's really hard to hear, and, in-ears, of course, have changed that, but we didn't have them back then.
Mm-hmm.
So I think Shannon may have had them at that show, by the way, people just started getting them. I had them for the first time on the very last tour.
Yeah.
And it was like playing in a live album. You know what I mean? It was like every, comparatively speaking, and now they're way better. I still have my old ones. I got to get mine redone, but they're, to be able to, that's a game changer at a show like that, because the stage is literally 50 yards across or something.
Yeah.
I look way over there and see, everybody else. It feels like that. And yeah, they have a cranky monitor system, massive side fills, but still you can step out of range. And all of a sudden, when you do it, it's sort of jarring because you're in nowhere.
Right.
You can lose, it's easy to lose your spot.
Mm-hmm.
Even if you're internalized, because something could happen, or you know what I mean. We've only had one catastrophic stoppage of a song, or two actually, and I remember we were in a situation like that where we went to Mexico City opening for Guns N' Roses,
mm-hmm.
and it was like a sold out stadium. Our record hadn't even been released yet. They just thought we were, something. It was they didn't know anything about us.
Right.
The whole stadium had the lighters out and stuff. And we were walking out holy crap, that really happened fast. But, the next show you're playing for 40 people in Des Moines, you know what I mean? But it was, Christopher's guitar was tuned exactly one half step flat. On an open E tuned guitar.
Mm-hmm.
that was only used for one song, which also happened to be the opening song.
Oh wow!
So we walked out on stage, right? And I think it was a new guy, a new crew guy or something. I don't even know. His body may be buried out in the Mexican desert. But we walk out and. So he starts this song called Paper Scratcher, right? It's and I'm hearing it, I'm like, that sounds a little weird, a little down, a little whatever, but okay, here comes my part. Boom. The whole band drops in, and we're all in tune, and he's not.
Yeah.
And that's surprisingly hard to figure out in the moment like that. Like, it's like one of those big stadium shows where it's like, it just sounds like first, the crowd is insane. I mean, the crowd it's overwhelming what we're hearing.
Yeah.
They didn't know anything about us. And even while this was happening, they're going, right? So we're going into the first verse and we're getting into it. And I'm just like, this sucks so bad that there's no way to continue. And and Glenn just stopped and walked off the stage. And let me tell you something. We came out to great accolade only less than a minute before.
Yeah.
But the level of boos that we heard in that moment, it would rattle your dentures and shiver your prostate.
Wow.
And yeah, we were very much. It was absolutely terrifying.
Wow.
Because we had the experience where we came in and we drove into that show, and we never had anything like this happen to us, by the way. So this is one of the first times that we'd experienced anything like this, and it was really about Guns N' Roses, you realize.
Right.
But we are in a limousine, right? A limousine. We're like, a fucking limousine. You know, here we're going under this massive like football stadium in Mexico, and you go down the ramp, you know, go back to the dressing room, and there are people lined on these chain link fences surrounding it, you know, basically, you know, hurling themselves onto the sword, you know, smashing, you know.
Yeah.
It's insane. And for absolutely no reason other than, you know, I mean, Guns N' Roses were a really big band at that time, obviously. So maybe they thought we were them. But they gave us the same reaction as the opening act, so I can only assume they were pretty excited about everything that was happening. But that was an amazing experience because it went so far exactly, you know, wrong in the opposite direction. When we recovered and played a set, but it was like, you can't get over that.
Oh.
It's like an entire stadium of people.
I hope there's video of that somewhere.
Oh, there is. It's in our movie. Well, no, I'll tell you what's in the movie is the scene where it looks really good.
Yeah.
Right. Like we walk out and you see a stadium, like, and that's there. Yeah. Shannon says Buenos Dias.
Right. Right.
And let me tell you something. That would be a great comedy skit. I mean, that thing went so far wrong. Anyway.
Hey, well, I wanted to ask you one more quick question about the Woodstock gig before we move on. But who chose the song that MTV put on the DVD and on the CD? Because the song "Soup" is one of my favorite songs of all time, and that performance is, in my opinion, one of the greatest performances of any song of all time. Because I feel
that is a good performance of that on there.
Yeah, I feel like it took the entire crowd
time, because honestly we hadn't played it very many times, you know.
Yeah, it's crazy because it took all those people down to that song is so individual and so personal, and it seems like it really just resonated with everybody. Did you feel that on stage when you played it?
Honestly, you know, maybe part of the problem for me is I mean, it was just I was in that place where I couldn't really feel much anything. You know what I mean? It's just been a long few days of no sleep, and so I was in a different headspace.
Yeah.
But you know, and we had only really played that song live, I mean, less than a handful of times.
Yeah.
In fact, the way the song happened really is like Christopher wrote that sort of opening acoustic piece, right?
Mm-hmm.
The whole acoustic guitar intro, and Shannon sang over it, and we were like, "Oh, that's great," you know. And at the same time, like I had this song that it was like a different song sort of that had the electric guitar at the end, where the drums come in.
Mm-hmm.
And we just stuck them together, you know, and that's how that happened. And we didn't, And then when we did the Soup record, right, when we recorded it, something happened and we didn't get to come back to it, or like and I'm sure some of this is definitely, I was on the side of like, I'm not sure the song is finished. You know what I mean? And as it turns out, I mean, if that was my argument back then, I was terribly wrong. But as it turns out, I mean, it was kind of a blessing in disguise, maybe, because you know, when we went to do the Nico record, that song really sort of anchors that entire record. Yeah. And it was great to have it, you know.
Yeah.
Because it is literally a stunner, you know, from top to bottom.
Truly.
And it really was, you know, like that whole out part, you know, we kind of put that together. Me and Shannon and Christopher were in this place in California, Mammoth, which is like a ski, there's a ski mountain there, right? And so we had a recording rig up there, and we spent probably, you know, we would go out on the slopes. I mean, not me so much, but they would.
Yeah.
You know, I'm 6'4", so I have center of gravity like up here. So I was like, you know, this is fun. I'll stay down on the bunny slopes. I get tired of it and go home and get drunk, you know. And they would come back and we would work on these songs. And there we recorded. I mean, I have a clear memory of recording the Pusher, which is on that record, right, sitting on the porch, you know, with Shannon. We're facing each other. That whole like, you know, that whole opening part.
Sure.
We did that live outside. So like if you're at the bottom of the hill, it's kind of warm in the day, you know, snow up there. And so at this cabin that Christopher's uncle had, it was just the three of us. And then, you know, that was right around, you know, when Kurt Cobain died.
Right.
And so that sort of made it into the song.
Mm-hmm.
The second half. The first half is sort of really about, you know, Shannon's family, really.
Yeah. You know, you talk about these things that happen, and I want that to kind of lead us into this documentary. All That I Can Say. All I Can Say is the name of the documentary about Shannon.
You're right. That is the time. Like I would have said that too, maybe. Just because to be grammatically correct, or you know, more precise.
Yeah. Well, you know, I know he had a camera with him all the time.
Mm-hmm.
And you
There's
know,
definitely that film is in there. Yeah.
Yeah. What was your involvement with that documentary, and when can we see that?
The film is well, it's going to be available on like a pay-per-view. They call it a virtual release. I mean, a lot of films are doing this these days. My first experience with it, and I think, you know, probably a lot of people's, given the circumstances. But it's basically a pay-per-view, as I can tell. But I think you'll get a high quality, you know.
Right.
But it's coming out like this week on the 26th. Yeah, that's 4 days from now.
Right.
I'm going to be doing something about it on the internet, and I can tell you that it's on. Yeah, I don't know where it is, but it'll be on our Facebook page.
Sure.
You know, and yeah, you can. I think you can rent it this weekend, but then it'll be on this something, you know, available in some other forms.
Right.
That's that.
Well, I wanted to ask you. You know, I would be remiss if I didn't ask you about the last day of Shannon's life in New Orleans. So now, is it true that he was even videotaping some things up until he passed away?
Listen, I'll say this. Yeah, I mean, that camera was around from, you know, always. But I encourage you to see the movie. And I'm not trying to be like, oh no, you have to, you know, pay for the movie. Honestly, I'll say this about the movie. I got everything I wanted out of it when I saw the final cut that Danny sent us. You know, it's like, you know, I have zero expectations of, you know, whatever. I mean, to make, you know, money from it necessarily or anything. And I really don't know. It's a complicated business that I have no understanding of, you know, the film business. But when I saw the film, my only requirement, which is what I told Danny from the beginning, or my only like hope for it, was that it's a real work of art, and it is. I think, and it's interesting, film people love it. People who don't really give a shit about the band love it because it's an absolute masterpiece of editing. It's brilliant. Like if you're sort of focused on that angle, like alone, like film people really like it. I mean, and it is quite an accomplishment when you think about, he had that camera that day that we met him, and there's a little bit of it in the that we're on the floor in the rehearsal room that we made in
Right.
West Hollywood. So he had the camera from that day, all the way. We found it with his stuff, and he filmed everything. I'm talking, you had to be sort of mindful of it. You know what I mean? Because if you could be, just for example, in a bathroom stall, just in, having private moment, whatever that may be, hear a little shuffling, and you look up and there he is with the camera. It could be anything.
Wow. Well,
but I'll tell you this though, he was a real, and I don't want to diminish him because he was very sensitive to people and experiences, and he developed a really keen eye for, how to frame the shot and how to tell a story. And he was very smart about it. He documented stuff like for example, he would set the date and orient you in time, because you get these tapes, right? It's like he's got a 4-hour tape and a video, and an old video camera, right? He's got a 4-hour tape. You got to fill it up. So that 4-hour tape could span 4 hours, or it could span 4 days, 4 weeks. You know what I mean? And so but every now and then he would film the front page of the New York Times for a few seconds, and that's like spliced in. So you'll see like where you are in history.
Yeah.
And so it's a document of the times, because when you look at it, it's not really about the band, I mean, although the band is sort of what's happening, it's about that moment and what was happening sort of on a broader cultural level, and also about him very intimate with his family. And this movie, I mean, I was trying to analogize it to something which is difficult, but I mean, it to me, it feels like it's A Star Is Born, but it's shot by the star,
right,
like a reality television show before that genre existed. That's what it is. That's like my description of it.
Wow. I can't wait to see it, and I hope everybody that watches this.
I'll send you something, or check, I'll make sure you get a link to it.
Thanks, man. And I want everybody.
Hurts for knowing me, right?
Well, I want everybody that is watching this to check it out. But what I'm really, really, really excited about is the new Blind Melon stuff. People who have not heard Travis need to check out Travis, because he sounds, I hate to say exactly like Shannon, but he really, really brings the whole vibe to it.
I'll say this. I'll say this. Travis can sing Shannon Hoon songs, but Travis is a whole other thing also. It's a very unusual situation. He just happens to be freakishly talented, but that dude is his own deal, and I'll say this, nobody's a bigger Shannon Hoon fan than Travis is. I mean, he loves Shannon stuff. And I mean, he was like you, he really loved it when he, like a few years younger, and really loved his music, but, he took that among other influences and developed his own style and his own thing. That dude is prolific. He's written a ton of songs that we could never possibly do them all.
Yeah.
Their quality. I mean, I'll tell you what, he's an incredible guitar player, really unique style. He's got that whole Texas, just straight up 1970s, fast finger picking country style. Like he can do that. Like, I mean, his dad was that.
Yeah.
His dad's that guy, one of those guys.
Right.
like the real deal, you know. And his mother can sing. His mother's got a beautiful voice. You know, there's a lot of talent, you know, coming down both sides of that family, and he got all of it.
Yeah. Wow.
And so, you know, Travis's voice is for the most part indestructible. You know, it's incredibly powerful in the room.
Yeah.
You know, yeah, I think for him, he can do so many kinds of things. You know what I mean? Like his voice is super, you know, versatile in that way.
Right.
Right. Where you know, it's like we always talk about it. You know, it's like what happens is he's writing all these songs, and then he'll do one in a way that I think, oh, that's the style that works with us, or like, you know, somebody will figure it. And so like I'll just like, oh, we'll take that one, you know. And so, and then, you know, we write together, and you know, he'll write over stuff or sing stuff, and he sort of does the same thing.
Right.
Like he'll listen to, like, you know, one of our demos, garbling through something, you know, or whatever, and I can sing that obviously way better than you, and then, you know, and I like it, you know what I mean? And so that's kind of how it works.
Yeah, it was for people.
He's written some amazing shit on this. Like there's songs that like I'm like, I don't know. I mean, you know, when Shannon died in 2000 or in 1995, right? End of 95, towards the end. I mean, like I went into complete shock. And I didn't realize this until just maybe 3 or 4 years ago, because I didn't come out of it until 3 or 4 years ago. Even, you know, I just didn't hear music. You know, from when I was very young, I was obsessed. Like I had a vision, like I had drive, and like I heard a clear note, I heard a clear melody, and that just all kind of got distorted after Shannon died. You know, I moved to New York, went crazy, went all over the world, and did all kinds of crazy stuff, and ended up a lawyer. You know, it was like, I mean, but you know, believe me, that was a miracle. But it came back to me like around 2015 or 16 or something, and I felt a sharp. It was like, you know, to me, like the guitar is like my life can be sort of defined by the line of events with how the guitar intersects with it, you know?
Yeah.
And at some point I diverged after Shannon died, and was kind of wandering around, but then like around 2000, and even like through that record, the first record we made with Travis, I mean, I was doing it because I felt like this is something I should be doing, because this is all I knew how to do, but it wasn't, I didn't hear it in the same way or feel it in the same way. And then it just came back like a freight train, like 2015 or so.
Yeah.
And I felt it like just coming together, and like I started playing a lot more, writing, and then I had this piece of music and I sent it to Travis, and like the good stuff that we had written together happened like this, where I like sort of finish it late at night, send it to him, and I wake up in the morning and it's done. Like he sends it back to me. He, on the West Coast, records his vocal over it, and that's a song. And you know it every time if it's good with just this or minimal instrumentation and a great lead vocal.
Yeah.
Because that's the only way a song is ever going to work. Like the top lead line melody and the lyric have to be, you know, exceptional. That's what makes a great song. You can do all kinds of bullshit if you have that. But so that's the stuff that we've done has worked for that reason.
Right.
And that one kind of set us on that path in a way, in my mind. And so I started just like really pushing the band. I was like, look, I don't want to play any more shows without new music. And, you know, because I hadn't been pushing that. Or I was like, I don't want to do this is dumb. I'd rather do something else in my life. There's, you know, better ways to make money. It's like, we have to make art. I mean, you know, I don't, that's a pretentious, you know, term in a way, but that's the standard, really. Yeah. I mean, what's the point? Yeah. And good things will follow if it's good. If it's not, you know, the public has spoken.
Well, I'll tell you this. I mean, from what I've heard so far, the new stuff is incredible. I think it's, you know, the first album was very, very successful. It sold a lot of copies. in my opinion, I thought the Soup album, you guys grew musically. It may not have sold as many copies, but I feel like you grew musically. And I feel like that the For My Friends album you mentioned with Travis in 2008, it had some good songs on it. I felt like it was sort of a
we weren't ready. We needed to like work with Travis, you know.
Yeah, like we felt each other out. And now, from what I'm hearing, man, this stuff, maybe in my opinion, the best stuff I've ever heard from Blind Melon.
Well, I mean, I view it's really kind of two different things, right? I mean, to me, because the voice of the band, the person out front is different. I mean, you know, we have to be honest. That can be a make or break situation because people, you know, most like music fans or listeners of music, they really focus on the vocal. You know, it's like they want to hear somebody sing them a story. You know, and that's completely legitimate. And I chase that relentlessly, you know, because I want to hear that myself.
Right.
So, but yeah, you gotta, you know, they're two different people, you know, and in a certain sense, I mean, it kind of sucks for Travis that he could sing those songs like he could, you know?
Yeah.
Because I'll say this, he's definitely could have had some other career too, and he still does. I mean, I'm actually the next night or two gonna cut some on his solo record that he's made. You know, because like I said, he's got an overflow of songs that we can never complete, or that just wouldn't be right for us for whatever reason.
Sure.
But they're all, I mean, it's all like high level stuff. But he, yeah. So, you know, I see it as two different things. But I would get if somebody just thought it was dumb. It'd be unfortunate if they thought it was that, you know, the reason that we have the same name. Yeah. It's more of an identifying thing, so you know where to find us. You know what I mean? Because there is a common thread, you know, and so I don't know.
Well, I'm really excited about it, man. I really want people to check it out. And you know, I've taken enough of your time today, and so I'm gonna thank you so very much for your time.
There you have it. My interview with Roger Stevens from Blind Melon. It was an honor to sit down and talk to him. And the best of luck with Blind Melon and their new stuff they've got coming out, the documentary. All I can say, go check that out. It's incredible, and so is the new music. The new music with Travis Warren is absolutely unbelievable. Go find it if you haven't done so, and my very special thanks to Rogers for his time, and I hope you all enjoy it. Be sure and like and subscribe to the channel. Also, check out our Facebook site and guitarwishes.com, and I'll talk to you soon. Lee's out.
Cruising for a bruising.